Hey everybody, welcome back to The Practical Pregnancy. I'm Tamara, a full scope primary care midwife in Canada, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. I want to talk about something that I think we don't talk about enough, frankly, and that is rest. Like most people on earth, you're probably pretty busy, and especially in this modern day culture, like we pride ourselves on being busy and what we're accomplishing and look what we can all do. And it's something I think really as moms and moms to be that a lot of women really struggle with. I know I do. Being busy is like a badge of honor. Being able to do it all is like proving you're superwoman. You know, you can be pregnant, have the full-time job, the career, look after your other children if you already have some, be a good wife, keep your house well, and all the things, And, when you're pregnant, you don't want to go to the extreme of doing nothing because you're not broken, right? Pregnancy is not, for most of us, unless it's a high risk pregnancy, something where you need to be constantly on bed rest or, you can't do the things you used to do. It's still good to be active, but it's really important to consider how you're getting rest and what that looks like. And rest can be more than just sleeping at night, because for many women, sleep is interrupted as you move through the pregnancy. And I always tell my own clients, it's kind of cruel, but it's almost like training and preparation for when you have a newborn who doesn't sleep through the night. And you always hear those great stories about those unicorn babies that sleep through the night right from day one. I gotta tell you, they're not really most people's experience, and nobody wants to talk about how sleep deprived they are with a newborn. We don't want to hear those stories. We want to only hear about the babies that sleep through the night. So that's a topic for another day, but all that to say that it's really normal to have interrupted sleep during pregnancy. So what I want us to think about today is how can we get other opportunities and create other restful experiences that we can start implementing into the pregnancy. Because as you're growing a baby, the demands on your body are huge. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, there's lots of changes that are happening as that life is growing inside of you. And so it's really important to start thinking about, how am I resting? How am I taking care of myself? How am I prioritizing my well-being, the baby's well-being, over busyness and achieving and accomplishing according to current cultural standards? And we're not going to talk about all the solutions today, but I just want to start this conversation to maybe get you thinking about ways that you can implement rest, ways that you can add rest into your schedule, certain things that you can do to create those moments of rest each and every day. Did you know that our brains actually get wired and rewired based on the activities that we prioritize? So for instance, if we're constantly busy, our brains actually get hardwired or rewired to anticipate busyness, to expect busyness, to not know how to not be busy. And so it really does take intentional planning to stop and figure out how you're going to give yourself that physical rest, but also that mental rest and that emotional rest. And these things are really important as you're preparing for the arrival of your baby. They're important to practice ahead of time, because when you're in labor, you want to be able to access that rewiring of your brain that allows you to rest and move through your labor and your birth with rest, flow, and ease. And we've got certain strategies in our Birth Unafraid course that can teach you exactly how to do that. If you're interested in finding out more about that, you can hit the link below to find out a little bit more about that. And the other thing that's important to think about rest during the pregnancy is that you want to not be shocked by the mandatory rest that happens after you have the baby. Resting after the baby's born is really hard for many of us. I know when I had my first baby, I was working full time. In fact, I was like seeing my own clients or patients right up to the day before I had her. And my very first thought after she was born was like, I've got visits to do today. I've got clients I have to go see. And that's how like poorly wired my brain was at that time, to be thinking like, I just had my baby, but I'm thinking about what I have to do. And many of us are in that situation. And I personally found it really hard to be still after my baby was born. And I can tell you from my own experience and the experience of like thousands of women I've worked with over the years, it's really hard for a lot of us to rest. but it's really essential that we learn how to rest. It's essential for our recovery. It's physically, it's essential for our mental and emotional transition to motherhood. It's essential for the well-being of our baby and our other children, if we already have some. It's essential for our relationships. It's really, really important and often so overlooked. So practicing rest in the pregnancy can really set you up to have an easier time accepting rest in the postpartum. And it's good to think about strategies for how you're going to get rest and how you're going to ask for help and how you're going to accept help, especially after the baby's born. I always tell women, like, breastfeeding, for instance, is a really great way to have forced rest. So when you're breastfeeding your baby, you have to feed them often. You have to feed them for long periods of time. And it's almost like a built-in mechanism that forces you to have to stop and be still and rest. And to give yourself permission to do that, to be able to sit and recover and bond with your baby and heal and make all those things that are required for a good transition with your new baby possible really requires a commitment to being restful and finding ways to rest and allowing yourself to rest. Almost like you have to give yourself permission to rest. If you're typically a busy person, then you really need to be mindful about how you're going to do it, like how you're going to convince yourself that it's actually a good thing and it's actually okay. And I want to just encourage you to think about that and to talk about your about that with your support people so that you can have some plans in place. And we know that women who rest well have a decreased risk of postpartum depression. So that's really important too. We want to take good care of ourselves. We want to surround ourselves with people who will help take good care of us. And it's important that we do that for the health of our own selves, but also the health of our babies and the people around us. So if you want to find out more about strategies you can use and tools you can use, hit the link below. We've got some things called faith scripts and birth scripts that can really be helpful in helping you achieve that rest. And they're really powerful tools. So if you're interested, you want to check them out, hit the link below. Don't forget to smash that like button. If you're liking the content we're putting out, please also consider subscribing. We want to be able to continue to bring you more helpful and useful, fear-free, practical information for your pregnancy, birth, and motherhood journey.